The psychology behind filmography and entertainment is absolutely fascinating. Let's take a look at how movies might encourage adolescent children to start smoking, how binge watching might affect you, and how different personalities might consume content differently. Hi, I'm Ethan Joseph, and I am an undergraduate student at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, and I'm majoring in psychology. Today, we're going to be talking about how smoking has been linked to a plethora of diseases and health problems, yet many individuals continue to start their smoking habit every day. Why? Nearly 1 in 5 deaths in the United States are attributed to smoking. What causes people to start smoking cigarettes? We're going to look at how one environmental factor, movies, might affect the initiation of smoking among adolescents. We'll be looking at one quantitative study and 2 longitudinal studies. One of the longitudinal studies is a cross-cultural study, and it utilizes a cross-sectional survey among 6 countries in Europe. Next, we're going to talk about binge watching. Binge watching is a phenomenon that's broadly defined as consecutively watching multiple episodes of television. This behavior could be problematic and could potentially cause damaging consequences to the viewer. Although binge watching has been associated with negative outcomes, it has also been associated with a few positive outcomes. And lastly, we're going to talk about how different individuals may experience content differently based on their personality. Sometimes movies try to appeal to the emotions of the viewer, sometimes trying to share experiences, but not all people are the same. Because it's possible for people to be completely unique from one another, they may experience movies differently. And on that note, let's get into our first topic, the effect of exposure to smoking in movies on adolescent children. Smoking is a major health concern, and it's particularly concerning among adolescent children. According to the CDC, smoking has been linked to lung disease, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, emphysema, certain eye diseases, and even cancer. Also, according to the CDC, in 2023 in the United States, about 2 in 100 high school students report smoking a cigarette in the last 30 days, and 1 in 100 middle school students report smoking a cigarette in the last 30 days. The research around this subject has been steadily growing, which emphasizes the importance of this issue. Studies have shown that exposure to smoking in movies is a significant risk factor for the initiation of smoking among adolescent children. A character from TV could influence a kid, making them want to smoke because they want to be like their character on the screen. In a study that surveyed 1,700 participants from 33 different Argentinian schools and analyzed 422 popular movies released in Argentina, concluded that exposure to smoking in movies was significantly correlated to the initiation of smoking among adolescents. The positive correlation between exposure to smoking in media and the initiation of smoking among adolescents is a common finding among multiple studies, one of which accounts for cultural differences between participants. Morgenstern et al. Analyzed popular movies in 16,551 participants across 6 European countries. These European countries included Germany, Iceland, Italy, the Netherlands, Poland, and the United Kingdom. The study controlled for variables that could have influenced the results, including gender, age, family affluence, parental smoking, and school performance. The study concluded that even accounting for cultural differences, exposure to smoking in movies still had a significant positive correlation to adolescent initiation of smoking. This understanding of how exposure to smoking in movies could affect vulnerable populations, such as adolescent children, has brought the prevalence of smoking in movies to the attention of some researchers. In a study conducted by Gianna Kodemis et al., it was found through content analysis of 45 films released between 1976 and 2020 that the leading character smoked in approximately 42.22% of scenes. The CDC found that 6 out of 10 PG-13 movies, which is over half of the PG-13 movies, contain some form of smoking or tobacco use. Next, I'm going to talk about how binge watching can affect you. Binge watching, the process of watching multiple consecutive episodes of television, is a popular behavior or trend in today's day and age, but it might have different outcomes than you'd expect. Multiple studies have found a link between binge watching and negative health outcomes. In 2 studies, one by Flayella et al. And the other by Raza et al., looked at how prolonged binge watching could affect an individual's mental health. They found that symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress were associated with excessive bouts of watching television. Richard and Plant also found that binge watching enhanced immersion and engagement, which in turn improved enjoyment of the TV show. Let's look at some more potentially positive outcomes for binge watching. Basuki et al. Also found negative outcomes, but complementary to it, they found some positive outcomes. They found improved pleasure and enjoyment of the subject, emphasizing the perception of ease of use and the perception of usefulness of the content, which both were improved when binge watching. So binge watching has been associated with engagement, immersion, increased pleasure, and enjoyment. So while binge watching may have negative effects on someone's mental health, it's important to keep in mind the potential positive consequences as well as why we binge watch and omit certain behaviors. Lastly, we're going to talk about how different personalities experience content differently in the media. A recent study looked into the media preferences of individuals based on whether they were determined to be an introvert or extrovert, as well as looking at their levels of neuroticism. The 199 participants of this study took a survey to determine whether they were going to be an introvert or extrovert. The participants' extroverted levels as well as neuroticism was determined using a Big Five inventory. This inventory attempts to categorize an individual's personality based on 5 traits. These traits include neuroticism, extroversion, openness, agreeableness, and consciousness. In a certain order, they spell ocean, and these are sometimes referred to as ocean personality traits. They also determine participants' affective states using the positive and negative affective schedule. The main goal of this study was to investigate the relationship between extroversion or neuroticism with the preference for happy or sad music. The study found that those high in neuroticism tended to prefer sad content, while those high in extroversion tended to prefer happy content. Interestingly, women tended to prefer sad movies, sad novels, and sad songs more often than men did. The study attributes this difference to the difference in emotional expressiveness among genders. This study also found that positive feelings related with happy music and negative feelings tended to relate to sad music. Another survey that looked at how personality could influence a person's preference of entertainment surveyed 175 volunteers from the Midwest and conducted 113 sessions over the course of several months. This study focused on 3 traits: extroversion, neuroticism, and psychoticism. The study looked at these 3 personality traits and saw how it correlated to the individual's preference of 4 genres of movies, including action, horror, romance, and comedy. The study found that neuroticism had a negative correlation to horror movies, so people that tested high for neuroticism tended not to like horror movies. The study also found that those who tested high in psychoticism had varied preferences for comedy and romance movies based on their level of neuroticism. This last study found that high levels of extroversion was a significant predictor for the rewatchability and the potential recommendation of a movie. Arriaga and Fonseca also claim that age, need for cognition, need to emote, and emotional gratification all significantly influence the potential to rewatch or recommend a movie. Although interesting, the topics we talked about today need more research to determine definite causal relationships. But they do pose real valid questions such as, how does exposure to smoking in movies affect our youth today? Thank you for watching. I'm Ethan. Have a good day. I'm Ethan. Have a good day.